Hello. So this will be a quick video to explain the format and some lore from Valorant Champions Tour that's happening right now. If you're new, hi. Um, Basically, Valorant's yearly final tournament is happening, and I wanted to give a quick recap of what has happened since 2023. We'll be only covering teams that are actually playing in this tournament right now. So a lot of lore, for example, Durka and Les from Fnatic and Loud moving to Team Vitality. The stuff like this I won't be covering, but we will be covering every team here. So let's just start with first of all each region. So Pacific right now, so far in 2025 has been the best region. T1 won Bangkok, and that was really unexpected. They have very good players. They have basically two DRX players, I believe, Stacks and Buzz, and Meteor from Genji. So it's a stack team, but they haven't been fully figured this stuff out, so they haven't been good. The reason they qualified here was because of champs points. Basically, they won early in the year, so they qualified here, as you can see right here. Um, Despite coming third, Talon actually didn't make it. DRX had more points, so I believe they made it through. So this says 4 points, but like overall yearly points, DRX had more, so they made it through. Um, and the second tournament was won by PaperX, who has been definitively the best team of in the world right now. Um, so let's go over them. PaperX, the expectation for this tournament is to place really high, even possibly win the tournament. They are definitely the most consistent and best team so far we have seen anywhere. RRQ has been pretty good. They have been really good in um, Pacific itself, but as we'll go through the recent match, they did lose to Fnatic recently. They have a little bit of a problem of performing in internationals. Last tournament in Toronto, they didn't perform very well. T1, as I said, they won the first tournament, and it was basically for 2 weeks they looked like the best team in the world. But after that, they have been bad. Before that, they weren't really good either. So it's like we are asking, can they replicate that again? And last is DRX. DRX were really, really good. They actually won the regionals kickoff. So they were really good in the beginning, but from then on, they kind of fell off and they just qualified, kind of like MIBR, as we'll see later, through champs points. Um, so T1 right now has Buzz and Stacks, as I mentioned. We can actually go through the team right now. So they have Buzz and Stacks, who were old DRX players, really, you know, experienced players. Meteor, one of my favorite players uh, from Genji. DH, so some drama happened. Basically, there was a this player, Sylvan, basically got benched and DH was brought in. And basically, it was that T1 is being toxic to Sylvan, something like that. And Izu is a regional superstar who hasn't really won any trophies other than Bangkok, and a really respected player. Okay. The for RRQ, it's Moniet. If you remember him from his time playing in both Global Esports and PaperX, he's a really good player. He usually plays as smokes, but sometimes plays duelist as well. Touching on that, currently the meta is double duelist on most maps. We'll go through the maps once more as well. I think that makes sense, but most teams are playing double duelist right now. And Yoru is like the staple duelist. If you are coming from 2023, you might remember a lot of Jet Race or Just Race being played alongside Chamber. Chamber is actually coming back in the meta right now a little bit, but and we'll touch on the meta in detail later. But Monet plays Neon, and most people play at least have one Yoru player, which is Jemkin in our case. He's a Russian player. You will also see a lot of Russian players taking a lot of duelist roles in this tournament. Jemkin is one of them. Really good player. Really like he was one of the highest rated player in Pacific. Uh, then Xfero, Crazy Guy is the IGL, and Kushi. PaperX, I think the biggest change for someone coming from long ago is that Mindfreak is no longer playing with them. Mindfreak was replaced by Patman. It's not anything to do with Mindfreak. He actually won. He was part of the team as a coach, sort of. Like he sat in the coaching booth with Alex. If you talk about the last tournament, Toronto. But right now, Panda is their performance coach, and they have been playing pretty good. They have not been choking. They have been not been throwing rounds as much. Batman plays mostly sort of initiator roles. And Forsaken actually has moved to mostly smokes. I don't think he has played anything recently other than that. Not at least majorly. We can go and quickly check. Yeah, so he has been playing. Oh yeah, they ran Vele in a couple of maps, and he played Sova once apparently, probably long time ago. But yeah, now coming back to the last team is DRX. So as I said, DRX players moved to T1. So now it's Marco, the only DRX veteran left. Flashback, there's something with like he keeps subbing in and out. Esteria, he's being hated by the community. I'm not sure why fully, but he's a decent player. The two players that okay, Bane is also one more, but Bane is uh if you think about Zelsis from Sentinels, he's like that. He's like the glue guy. He, keeps the vibes up in the team. But two guys I want to focus on, other than Marco, who's like really good, is Freeing and Hyunmin. Hyunmin is the duelist, and he has been really, really good. And Freeing for the first tournament kickoff was one of the best players in the world. So it's also a question of whether or not they can come back. So that's Pacific. Um, then there is China. Not much. I don't have much to say about China because I don't really watch it. Uh, this is a good time to talk about Ascension teams. Ascension teams, if you don't know, VCT has like 10 teams that are partnered with them, and then there are two teams that are chosen from tier 2. So in this case, it's the Gila and Dragon Ranger Gaming TRG. As you can see, both of these teams are top four, so they made it to champs and they are in champs. One interesting thing is that because they are both here, next year whoever finishes further in champs gets to stay in VCT. The other one gets relegated to tier 2. So it's a race between these two to see who can make it further. As I said, both of these teams have one Russian player. So Raga is in XLG. XLG won the stage 1 tournament to everyone's surprise, I think, and they played pretty well overall. But in Toronto, they bombed out and they are not looking good since, as you can see, like lots of red hair. Um, then there is DRG. Again, they had a Russian player called Vukashu, but he could not make it due to visa. But instead of him, they got Demon One. You might remember him from EG, the champs winner. Demon One had a similar fall off to Ye. So basically, he moved to NRG, didn't really perform very well, and since then he has not been playing anywhere. The last team he was on was I think Leviathan, who benched him or something. So he hasn't been doing well either. So it will be interesting to see whether or not he can make it and in the last match that they played, he actually played pretty decently. Wukashi was the best player, DRG's best player. So it will be interesting to see whether or not they can make it. And their group is really hard when we'll go through it. One shout out I want to give is to wow, they are not even here. It was to Wolf Esports. Uh, they played really really well in Toronto, but they finished third, I believe, third or fourth, but they didn't make it to playoffs. EDG, since winning champs in 2024, they actually fell off really badly. They had like some internal issues with Simon, and he got kicked out. And they bought in. I think the players changed a little bit, so we can go here and see the transactions. I believe. So I think they got a bunch of people from to fill the role of Simon. Right now it's GN, I believe, but since then EDJ just hasn't looked good at all, and I think this was one of the first times they didn't win anything regionally, right? And they didn't win internationally either. They didn't even make it to the last international, so it will be interesting to see. I believe they didn't. Am I wrong? Yeah, so they made it to EWC. I'm not going to talk about EWC here, but after Bangkok, they didn't make the international. That was the first time I believe they didn't fail to make an international. The last team I want to talk about is BLG, Bilibili Gaming. You might remember them from defeating NRG that time. Uh, they did win China's uh, stage 2, but I'm not sure why people were really really hyped about them. Again, I didn't watch China too much, but YZ from Bilibili, who has been, I think, one of the few players who still is in this team. Or maybe all of them are. Actually, I do remember most of them. I don't remember Livius, but I remember Neff and Knight. But YZ actually made it to top 10 in the Platchat top 10 list. I'm not sure why, because they just lost to MIBR immediately and in pretty bad fashion as well. So far, China is actually 0-4 in the group stage in champs. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly happened. Uh, the next one is EMA. So from EMA is actually very interesting. As you can see, Team Liquid and Janitex did make, but Navi, Fnatic, and Team Heretics actually are fifths and sixth. They made it through champs points. EME has had a very interesting story. Fnatic and Team Heretics both went to EWC, and speculation is that because of that, they got burnt out and didn't perform very well in playoffs. Team Heretics actually almost didn't make it to champs at all because they relied on Team Liquid winning matches. So I'll give you the rundown. Basically, what coming to Paris, coming into Paris, Team Liquid looked like the best team in EMEA, even though their grand finals that they played wasn't very good. It was a little bit sloppy, but they did look like the best team overall. Actually, let's go through their team because a lot has changed. Nats is IGLing now, which is, to me, it was surprising, but he has been IGLing really, really well. Party Tech is in the team. Trex came from Vitality to Team Liquid and has been performing good in terms of utility, but not really top fragging or anything. The two people, I think, the three people to look at are Kamo is the third. He is the duelist and he plays pretty decently. He's not like a superstar or anything, but he needs to perform, I think, to for this team to perform well. The other two are Nats and Kiko. Nats, of course, is one of the best players in the world. His recent last matches have been really bad, but other than that, he is a really, really good player. Kiko is the other one who was, I think, the best player in EMEA. Um, and he is a fantastic player, a smokes player. He plays again double duelist for this team more or less. So these two people need to perform for this team to look good and win. Then there's Giant X. So BBL was actually the third best team, fourth best team in EMEA after Team Liquid, Fnatic, and Team Heretics from the people's consensus. But they didn't make it. They choked really badly against Giant X, and Giant X really looked good. So Giant X you might not be very familiar with because they're not really popular org, but Cloud is actually another like a regional superstar, right? People know him. He was compared to Leo when Leo wasn't in Fnatic, so he's one of the best players you can find. But he's been IGLing, and due to that, he has not been performing very well. You'll also see this pattern of people who aren't really IGLing suddenly. This has been happening due to a lack of IGLs who frag, I guess, recently. Um, in PaperX, 4 second has been pseudo IGLing. Again, they have a different system of IGLing, but he is the official IGL. RRQ, I think it's crazy guy. But here it's a Cloud. Other than that, Flickless and Ara, these two are new tier 2 players that they picked up and have been performing really, really well. They have been some of the best players in this team. Not Flickless, Ara. And West Side has been with this team for a while, I think, and he has been the second best player in this team. So both of these are to look out for. Then we have Fnatic and Heretics. Both of them actually bombed out in playoffs 0-2. Fnatic already was secured champs. Team Heretics did not. If you don't know Fnatic, Leo, unfortunately, he retired from pro play due to uh, having long COVID. So he will never not be playing in VCT anymore, which is sad. But he was replaced by Crashes, who you might know from Optic or Envy, and Kahak. So he is a tier 2 player and he has been one of the best players in EMEA as well. He plays duelist for this team. Again, I mean, I don't know what I need to say about this team. This is one of the best team coming into champs. I personally think that Alpha needs to perform alongside Kahak for them to win. Chronicle has actually been the best players for the past like 4 or 5 months, but I think him performing well is a symptom of the team not performing well. Then you have Team Heretics. Team Heretics hasn't changed since 2024 at all. The only thing that has changed is that they have been choking worse. They, as I said, bombed out in playoff. They absolutely bombed out in Toronto. They were in contention to be the worst team in Toronto, but they did win EWC, and they have been looking good right now as they are playing. So there's hope, and Wood needs to perform for this team for sure. Um, but let's see what happens. So this is basically EMEA. I would say coming into champs, either them or Pacific has to be looking as the best region. The last region is Americas, and Americas has actually been the weakest region. I think this is the first in Valorant for that. G2 has been looking absolutely perfect. The only major change that G2 made was Leaf actually had some issues, health issues. So Baby we played for them for a while, and he's still with the team, but he is mostly sitting in the coaching booth. Leaf, again, one of the best players. I mean, I don't think nothing changed other than Jogame coming in instead of IC, and they have been looking pretty good. They won every single trophy in Americas this year. That is a first, I believe, for any team other than maybe ADG in China. So that's huge, and they have been just farming everyone. They did lose their first match in Bangkok, but I mean, their first match in. Okay, so they didn't look super good in Toronto, but I think that was because the other teams that they faced, Fnatic and PaperX, they looked much better, and they look revitalized. I think they are one of the favorites to win this tournament. The group is hard, but they can make it out. Then we have NRG. So first of all, I'll go with Sentinels because Sentinels actually, again, they haven't changed much. The last change that they made was Sasi and Tense, both of them retired. So Narrate and Bang was picked up. Bang from 100 Thieves, Narrate from KC, Carmen Corp. And in this, you'll see that nothing has changed per se, but they have been looking like the second best team in Americas, but they were still super shaky, and they lost their first match in champs as well. So they are a team that I think has a very high ceiling. They can perform very well, but they have been looking very very shaky. So it's a question of whether or not they can make it. They can like get over those jitters and play well. They actually didn't come second in regional. NRG was surprisingly the team who came second, and I think they have a lot to talk about. So NRG in the beginning of the year was okay. So if you remember last year, it was Ethan, Som. Uh, wait, was it Som? It was Ethan, Marved, Demon One. Um, I'm trying to remember. Oh, you know what? We can just check the transactions. Verno and Crashes. Okay. So it was basically most of the NRG players, or rather, most of the optic players. So you have Marved, Crashes, and Ethan. No, wait, sorry. I'm forgetting some stuff. But basically, this was supposed to be a super team last year. Ethan was IJling, did not work out at all. They very badly bombed out. They played very poorly in terms of macro. The aim was still there. So they made a few changes and they bought in SOM and FNS. This uh, did not fix the last year. So this year they brought in two more people. A coach, Bonkar, who is very, very respected in EMEA. A coach from EMEA they bought. And the other person was, other two were Marda and Verno. So Marda is a tier 2 player, Verno as well. I think Verno and Bonkar, these two were in a team together. I'm not sure about Marda. Verno is a an initiator player, and Marda is a duelist. Uh, what happened was FNS couldn't play. He was one of the worst rated players, and he was genuinely not playing well at all. So but during this, he created some drama. Like something happened internally, and Varno had to be kicked out from the team, and they brought in, I believe, Brock. Because Verno left, Bonkar also left. So this left FNS with some other, I think it was Mike's SD as a coach. They did not perform well at all. So they kicked out FNS, Mike's. They bought Verno, bought Bonkar back in, but Verno couldn't come because he went to NIBR, which we'll talk about in a minute. So they instead bought Brock and Iskuba. So this is not the team. Brock and Iskuba have been playing pretty well, but Som and Mada are by far the main ingredient for this team to win. Ethan's IJling has been looking pretty decent as well. They did win the first match against EDG, but Bonkar I think is to be credited for that because he's a really wonderful coach. Um, Speaking of MIBR, as you can see, they're not here at all, and this is because MIBR in the beginning of the team was the third best team in the world, in the region by far, but they fell off really really badly after their loss at Toronto. So let me find them. Oh, wow. I did not expect this to be. 1 second, I know how to find them. Sentinels must have played against them. So MIBR. MIBR, if you remember from last, like previous years, they were the worst team in the world, pretty much, and they did not win a single match. The only match that they, oh no, wait, I think they were literally 0-10 last year or something. So they bought, they bought Aspas, and I believe Artzine was already there, and Genome and Cortesia. I think Cortesia might also have been there, but they did bring in Xenom. They brought in Nozer. If you don't know, basically in Leviathan, Aspas wanted to play with Nozer, but Nozer got benched, so he got pissed, and there were some internal issues. This time they came here, Nozer was with Aspas, right? At this point, Verno is not in the team. They play together, and they are third best team in the world, but they go to Toronto, they lose pretty badly, they come back, and then I believe this is the correct story. Let me just make sure I'm not misremembering anything. So yeah, let's see. Okay, Verno is playing here, so I believe then it must have been around here. So this is what the, not this, America's stage 1. Okay, so this is a streak of wins, right? Let's see where they are at right here. So it's still with Verno. Oh, right, I remember. So around here, I think, near the beginning of the kickoff, the drama with Verno happened where he got kicked. And when he got kicked, by this time, MIBF was doing pretty good. They have Aspas in their team. They're still doing pretty good. But because Verno got kicked and Nozer was playing initiator for them, they picked up Verno. With Verno, they were the third best team in the region. They went to Toronto and they bombed out very, very badly. At this point, they have the worst. They are the team with the worst international performance on record. They beat Trace for that. They beat Trace for that record from last year. So MIBR now are out of playoffs. They do, but they did play really well in the beginning, so they have a lot of champs point. So because of I believe NRG winning, if we go back here, NRG winning over Sentinels. No wait, NRG winning over Cloud9 gave them the um champs spot, and now they are looking pretty good suddenly out of nowhere. We'll talk about more about them, but in short, I think for this team to win, Aspas, Verno, and Cortesia, these three people have to perform. Mostly, I think Verno is an IGL, so it's fine if he doesn't perform to his best. But Aspas and Cortesia do have to perform. I know it says Artisan is the team captain, but I do believe Verno is IGLing right now. Okay. So with all of this, we can now look at the champs bracket. The first bracket, and just to be clear, how it works is for each bracket has the first team from one region, second team from one region, third seed from one region, and fourth seed from one region. So this is first Pacific seed in Paper X playing against Gila, the I believe third or fourth. You know what? I don't remember about China, so we'll look at the others. Giant X is the second seed from EMEA, and Sentinel is the third seed. So Gila must be fourth. Again, Paper X is supposed to win this expected to win this bracket, and they did. They pretty much went, straight to qualification. Gila is not supposed to win, and we'll see. All the Chinese team lost the first round. Um, Giant X actually won over Sentinel. So Giant X performed really well. Like they are in a high upward trajectory. So that was really surprising, but also many people expected this, especially if Sentinels look shaky. So in the next match, they did lose against PaperX, but they did look pretty surprisingly good. Um, ex- uh, Expectation wise, Sentinels are supposed to win in this one, but in the next one, it is anybody's game. Will Sentinels, anti and win against Giant X? Will Sheila somehow win this match? I don't think so. And or will Giant X continue and qualify to playoffs? Because that would be, I think, a pretty, not a big upset, but an interesting upset. Group B. Again, people were expecting not only Bilibili to win against MIBR, but to win against Fnatic, which shocked me. People had RRQ as the best team in this group. I don't blame them for that. I can see like Fnatic looking weak. People would assume that, even though I think Fnatic is. If you had a team that would, you know, if you had to bet on a team to revitalize themselves after a break, Fnatic would be my bet. So Fnatic did win this one, and MIBR won this one. Not just one, but like pretty convincingly. Like look at this. This is surprisingly well. So I don't know what people were thinking about with BLG, but all right. Um, then you have the next match that is going to happen, I believe, is Bilibili versus RRQ. RRQ should win this pretty easily, and then it's MIBR versus RRQ. We would say RRQ should win, but we did just see MIBR play a really, really competitive game against Fnatic. So it is gonna be pretty close, I think. Then there is Group C. Next up is Group C, where again, Team Liquid, I think, were looking like the, I would say, second best team in the world, but they lost against DRX. And DRX, again, similar situation with MIBR, where they weren't supposed to make it to champs at all. They made it based on their performance in early in the year, and they beat out Team Liquid. And Team Liquid actually played really shockingly bad in this. Individually speaking, Nats fell off in one of the rounds. He teleported in another round, so it was really, really, I think, shocking to everyone, especially Nats doing it, because he is one of the most veteran players in the team and in the world. Um, so now they are in the lowest. NRG played against EDG, and this was a very, very close game. I think double overtime as well, but NRG did win it. For NRG, Mada is one of the players to look at. He aces a lot. He has, I think, the most aces uh, in regional, which is surprising because that should not happen, especially at this level of play. But other than that, you have EDG, who again lost, and it was a close game, but they did lose. So now they'll be playing against Team Liquid. Again, Team Liquid should be favored in this, but they were heavily favored in this one as well. So I'm not sure what to think of it. This is one of the toughest groups so far, um, because Team Liquid should have been easily the best team in this group, and they failed. So, and out of these three teams, it was anybody's guess, but it looks like NRG is the best team because they just qualified straight through. Um, right now, NRG is actually the only America's team who has made it to playoffs, which is surprising because Group D, I would say, was the team where people would have expected Americas to made it through, because G2, as I said, were looking like, okay, I said second best team in the world for Team Liquid, but G2 probably is actually the second best team in the world after PaperX, because they were playing fantastically as well. Team Heretics, as I said, they're really hit and miss. Last year, they were the second best team without any doubt. And this year, they were bombed out at Toronto, won AWC, then bombed out in playoffs. They won here, they looked really, really good, and they won against T1 as well. I actually haven't had the time to catch up for this match as well, but I just saw that they played really close games, and Woot and Rians, these two people have been playing very well. Meteor has been up and down, but T1 looked shaky, but Team Heretics did manage to get the win. And in the second map that they played, T1 actually had double pistols. So Team Heretics looks pretty convincing so far. The next match that is happening here. For the next match that's happening here is elimination. All of these next matches are elimination, I believe. So first is Sheila versus Sentinel. Sentinel should win this. Billy Billy versus RRQ. RRQ should win this. Team Liquid versus Edward Gaming. Team Liquid should win this, but this could be anyone's game. And then after that, it's gonna be G2 versus DRG. Again, DRG played a really close game with Team One, so it could be anyone's game, but G2 should really be winning this. Um, because G2 is one of the best teams in the world right now. So it was surprising in the first place that Team Heretics won. And to give some context, I think the reason they won is because Team Heretics changed their comp on Karod and on Lotus. Lotus would just played really, really well. But on Karod, I think G2 tried a different comp. This has been their worst map so far. They banned Abyss, which is surprising, but Karod has been the worst map so far, and Team Heretics just made full use of that. So yeah, I hope you learned something new. I hope this gives you some context for what is happening throughout. And I'm not sure if I'll make a new video, but yeah, I hope you have fun. See you later.